Hello, how is everything going with everyone today? Let's make this money, guys. Right now we are on the GBP/USD chart on the weekly time frame. And right now I'm just going to put some support and resistance out. And change that color. Something much more lively. Let's make that a solid blue. Okay, and now let's put some trend lines in the mix. I'm not really liking these. I'm just going to take these out. Sometimes it's okay just to take a look back and just analyze your own analysis. Okay, now this is the channel I was looking for. I don't know what I was doing earlier. Okay. So this is as simple as I can possibly put this right now. So in the previous weeks, this right here was the trend. Then right here, it resisted this 1.43520 area. And then next, it has been just consolidating. But check this out. This area resisted against it. And that right now it's resisting against this this trend line right here. So now I'm just going to go down into a daily chart so I can see what is going on within the weeks. And as you see, consolidations. So this area is supporting right here. It's supporting right here. So I would say for the next couple of days, I'm going to set up some, let me set up my entry right here. We're waiting for this. It needs to test off of this trend line one more time. And trust me, most likely it will go beyond this, but it has to close below this trend line. If it closes below this trend line, we can definitely expect it to go back down to this area and test off of that. And if it actually tests, if it closes above this and tests above this and consolidates above this, then we can definitely expect that it's going to go back up. Now, if it tests this area, if it tests that trend line and it actually tests on top of that, then we need to expect that it's going to go back to this area. As a matter of fact, right here, mainly because I see some resistance that's already building up right there. And for this line, I'm going to just put this as a 4-hour chart. I mean, yeah, something for the daily chart. And I'm just gonna make that my take profit. Yeah, let's just make that my first take profit. If it actually does decide to test on this area, by the way, it has to test on this trend line first. Don't go anywhere thinking that it's automatically gonna go to this area. Just make sure that you're safe and it tests on this trend line first. As a matter of fact, I'll put a little note here for this. Wait for price to test. Okay, so you're gonna want to wait for it to consolidate or test in this area on that trend line. Okay, so wait for it to test on this trend line, and if it tests on top of the trend line, then it will be going to this area. But if it tests below this trend line, then you have to expect that it's going to go back down to this area where it already has tested already. Now, if it actually goes back down to this area and it actually closes above this line, then expect it to go back out to this area, back to this trend line. But if it's going to break out, I can't really tell. So, as a matter of fact, I'm just going to put it back to right here, because if it actually does decide to just test within this area and it closes above it, it might go back up. But if it closes below that, then you're going to want to expect that it's going to go below this area as well. And as a matter of fact, should also expect that it's going to go and test this other side of the trend line as well, or just test this area right here that it has tested previously. Okay. Okay, so yes, that is my analysis for the GBP/USD chart. And yeah, so just for a little recap, just in case if I dragged in any type of areas, just as a little recap, basically what we're waiting for is for this area, is for the price to actually go up and test this area. But oh yeah, what if it actually goes down? That's something I really want to address as well. If it actually does go down, then all we have to do is just wait for this arrow. Just try to look for this arrow. If it actually does go down, wait for it to test above this line or below this line. So that way you can know if it's going to be actually trying to go back down, go back to a even lower price, or if it's actually going to test this area and go to try to test this trend line again and break through. So yeah, we're just waiting. We're basically just trying to be patient to just wait for price to do what we want it to act like. Because if we're just doing what we want it to do, then it's not going to work like that. I'm sorry, but yeah, just wait to see where it's going to consolidate, or wait to see where it's going to test, especially on the lower time frames as well. Sometimes you don't really see them on the big time frames, but on the lesser time frames, you'll definitely be able to see the consolidations that's happening on the lesser time frames. So basically, just wait for it to test this area right here to go to the trend line. And then if it actually closes underneath that, you're gonna have to the new high is going to be on the trend line itself. So you're definitely gonna want to put a sell in on the trend line if it actually does do that that motion, and like if it just decides to test off that trend line. And then we're gonna let's make that take profit this line right here for the 1.27521 area. I'm gonna just put my own right here and put that above the line, so that way you can just make sure that you're gonna get that profit. You definitely don't want any fake outs or pullbacks happening around that area. And then when it gets to this area, the 1.27521 area, you're gonna have to wait until it does a consolidation or just test this area for it to be above or below this area. And if it is below this area, you're gonna want to put in another sell and go down to the next area. But if this actually does decide to consolidate on top of this line, then you're gonna have to wait until it tests this area. And again, it's the same thing as this one. If it tests this area and it closes above it, then you're gonna want to go for a buy. And I'm gonna put an arrow right there. So yeah, and if it actually does decide to close above this area and test this area as well, then again, you're gonna want to go for here. And then sky's the limit after that. So yeah, that's basically my my analysis for GBP USD using the weekly and daily charts.